Hello everyone and welcome you all for our module 6 of WSET Level 2 preparation journey. And in today's module we're going to be starting to explore the grape varieties. So we are starting with Pinot Noir, as Pinot Noir is the first grape variety to discuss in our official WSET Level 2 specification. Therefore, I will start with Pinot Noir, and I would like you to go back in our previous modules to refresh your understanding about our fundamentals, where we discuss about grape growing, winemaking techniques, etc. Because that will really help you to understand these grape varieties and their flavor characteristics, how they are being influenced by different condition in the vineyard, different techniques that the winemaker uses during the winemaking options, etc. All these fundamental information that we discussed in previous modules gonna really helps you to understand about these grape varieties. So Pinot Noir is one of the most difficult grape varieties for grape growers to grow because it is prone to different diseases, rots that are found on the vineyard, as well as very sensitive to climate conditions. It requires cool to moderate climates. If the climate is too cold or too hot in extreme conditions, the grape variety cannot thrive and produce a healthy crop of grape. As well as in such conditions, the flavors of these grapes are not suitable to produce a good quality wine. In fact, the Pinot Noir is my favorite grape variety as well, and I have tried a couple of Pinot Noirs from different parts of the world, and I really understood the different expressions of the same grape variety when it's made in different parts of the world, like a Californian Pinot Noirs, how it's different from Australian Pinot Noir, or a Pinot Noir coming from Burgundy, how the flavor profiles are differs. And when you really dive into those fundamental informations when it comes to grape growing as well as wine making, it helps us to understand these styles of the wine as well. My name is Nilantha and I'm a WSET Level 3 certified sommelier, making these contents to help you prepare successfully for your WSET Level 2 journey without feeling overwhelming. If you find these contents are helpful and useful for your journey, please do subscribe to my channel, as that's going to help someone else to discover my channel and learn from these contents as well. So without further ado, let's get started. What are the characteristics of Pinot Noir? So these are the most common characteristics that we often describe Pinot Noir regardless of where it is coming from. So usually pale to medium color, high acidity with low tannin. So mostly these wines are pale color, like pale ruby. Oftentimes as we pour the wine into the glass and we look through, we can see through the glass. Therefore these appearances are described as paler. So sometimes depending on the structure of wine, it can be even medium. So mostly it's pale to medium, and it's high acidity with low tannin. So this is the key explanation of Pinot Noir. It's low tannins as well as high acidity. This is almost all the time is the case. So you can easily remember high acidity, low tannins. And it has red fruit flavor, especially strawberry, raspberry and red cherry. So these are the flavor descriptors that we often use to describe Pinot Noir grape variety. So it's raspberries, strawberries, red cherries. So overall they are red fruit flavors, and can be ranged from fresh to cooked fruit depending on the climate where they grown. So this is very important. So depending on where it's grown, the flavor profile can be either fresh or cooked fruit, meaning that if it's coming from a cooler climate regions, the flavor profile tend to be more fresh, more vibrant, and if it's come from slightly warmer climate conditions, the flavor profile tend to be more cooked, meaning that it's overly ripe, therefore it has more of like juicier character. So this is the thing. And then we're moving on to the winemaking and maturation options. So most commonly made as a single variety. Almost all the time Pinot Noir is made as single varietal, with one exception being Champagne. As you know, Champagne is one of the remarkable sparkling wines in the world, made from a blend of 3 different grape varieties. One of them is Pinot Noir, Pinot Meunier and Chardonnay. So Pinot Noir is used in the production of Champagne just to blend, and apart from that there's almost no other exceptions that are used to produce Pinot Noir wines. It's always 100% Pinot Noir and it's varietal wines. and often mature in large oak barrels. So almost all the time when making Pinot Noir wines, it's often matured in large oak barrels. What happens if it's aged or matured in small oak barrels? The barrel flavors tend to be in part to the wine, and it's caused to mask the fruit flavors that are found in the grape variety. Therefore, it's tend to mature in large oak barrels because large barrels tend to impart no flavors, helping the wine to evolve its own flavors further into better flavors. Therefore, it's the large oak barrels are often used to mature these Pinot Noir. So most Pinot Noirs are meant to consume when they're young and fresh, though some very good wines can develop flavors like mushrooms and forest flower in bottle over several years. So meaning that majority of the Pinot Noir wines meant to consume when they're young and fresh. As they get older, as they age for further, what happens? These primary fruit flavors tend to be vanish, tend to be disappear. Therefore, it's beneficial to consume these wines when they're young and fresh. But some wines are meant to further age for several years, several decades inside the bottle. In fact, Pinot Noir is the most expensive bottle of wine ever sold in the world, which is Domaine de l'Aromani Conti 1945 vintage. So up to date, it was break its own record, the previous record for about 550,000 euros or dollars. I'm not sure, but again in 2026, they sold the same wine, same vintage for 800 plus $1,000, which is the most expensive bottle of wine ever sold. So it's been about 70 to 80 years from then until now, and yet the great reputation remains the same, meaning they have great potential to further age for several decades in the bottle. So therefore, depending on where the wine is coming from, how the wine is made, these factors can be varied. So just to let you know, it is one of the Pinot Noir based wines that is most expensive bottle of wine ever sold in the world as well. Important regions for Pinot Noir. So Burgundy is the home for Pinot Noir. Arguably, Burgundy is where the Pinot Noir is born, Pinot Noir is found, and but many other wine regions are producing outstanding Pinot Noir around the world. So not only Burgundy, but many other regions around the world producing outstanding wines from Pinot Noir as well. So those regions closer to equator receives much warmer climates. The moderating influences, they are able to produce better. So even though some regions are located closer to equator, now we know the regions that are located closer to equator receives much more warmer, much more stronger sunlight conditions. In that case, Pinot Noir prefers cool to moderate climates, and Pinot Noir could not be survived in such extreme weather conditions. But because of these regions are located closer to even rivers, even coastal parts like sea breezes, they can moderate these the region's climate conditions and resulting in able to produce outstanding wines from Pinot Noir as well. So we start with the Burgundy in France. The climate range from cool in north to moderate for the south. So the climate in Burgundy is both cool and moderate depending on the location. The northern part of Burgundy tend to be cool climate, whereas the southern part of Burgundy tend to be moderate climate, slightly warm. So Pinot Noir is best suited to moderate areas where it can reach full ripeness. So Pinot Noir best suited for moderate climate conditions to reach the full ripeness of the grape variety. So best vineyards are located on south and south east facing slopes. So the best location for Pinot Noir in Burgundy are located in south or southeast facing slopes, and they are often located in the middle of the slopes. So most well-known vineyards are located on Côte d'Or. So again, Côte d'Or is also known as the Golden Slope, and most of the well-known vineyards to produce Pinot Noir are based in this Côte d'Or. And Côte d'Or even further divided into two parts. The northern part known as Côte de Nuits, the southern part known as Côte de Beaune. So Côte d'Or basically divided into two parts, the northern part known as Côte de Nuits, the southern part known as Côte de Beaune. Let's start with the quality hierarchy of Burgundy wines, starting from Bourgogne AOC. So wines that are labeled this way, typically light to medium bodied, they are meant to consume while they are young and fresh and lack the flavor as they aging. So the wines that are labeled as Bourgogne AOC, Bourgogne in French means Burgundy, and these wines tend to be light to medium bodied, and they often have primary fruit flavors, the vibrant red fruit flavors, and they do not have potential to further age. So they're meant to consume as soon as they release to the market to enjoy the full flavors of these wines. And then we have village wines. So the village level wines are typically better situated, sometimes on slopes with better aspect and well-drained soils. So these village level wines, these vineyards are located sometimes in slopes with better aspects, maybe southeast facing, and they have better drainage soils, and they offer more flavor intensity, complexity, and length on the finish than Bourgogne was. So these wines have more intensity, more complexity, as well as they have more length on the finish. As we take a sip, the flavors will linger on our palate for further than we found in Bourgogne AOC. So some of the famous village levels are as like Givre Chambertin AOC, Nuit Saint George AOC, Beaune AOC, and Pommard AOC. These are the most well-known regions to produce village level wines based on Pinot Noir. And because of the demand that Burgundy has, even though their village level wines still can command such high prices. And oftentimes what I see in our wine list as well, these village level wines quite expensive than the other outstanding Pinot Noir wines coming from other parts of the world, because these vineyards are quite located closer to other Grand Cru, Premier Cru sites. Therefore, they have the demand already to increase their prices as well. But they offer great value for the money as well. And then we have Premier Crus and Grand Cru wines. So these are the most complex and intense wines produced in Burgundy, commonly found on slopes with southeast aspects. So these are the wines that are considered best of the best wines, especially the Grand Cru wines. So they're commonly found on slopes with south or southeast aspects, meaning that they have the best aspect, best location on these slopes, which receives the highest amount of sunlight as well as the heat. And they benefit from extra sunlight, warmth, offering concentrated flavors that evolve into pronounced tertiary flavors like forest flower, like mushrooms. So they benefit from this extra sunlight as well as the warmth in order to develop these concentrated fruit flavors that can be further evolved into these tertiary characters like forest flowers, like mushrooms that are found in Pinot Noirs. The Grand Cru wines are considered as the very best in individual vineyards, produce the most concentrated and greatest potential for aging. So Grand Cru wines arguably considered as the pinnacle of the Pinot Noir expressions, and they are producing the most intense, most complex flavor profiles of Pinot Noir wines, and they have the best of the best locations, the overall aspects and everything is Grand Cru are the best. So they command exceptionally high price due to their quality and rarity. As we mentioned earlier, the most expensive bottle of wine ever sold was Domaine de la Romicon in 1945. Even in that year, there was only 600 bottles were ever produced, and that was also prior to the vineyards were uprooted and newly planted. So there's a lot of other factors as well, but in general, Burgundy Grand Cru wines are produced in very limited quantities, and also their rarities as well as their qualities demands the exceptionally high price. If you compare the price of Grand Cru Burgundy wine and another Pinot Noir coming from different parts of the world or within the Burgundy, the Grand Cru wine's price is quite expensive, exceptionally expensive than the other wines, and all these factors are contributing to the price of these wines as well. So now USA, especially the California. So most of part of California is too warm for Pinot Noir, but there are a small number of regions that are located close to the coastal. So like we discussed earlier, even though the regions that have very warmer climate conditions, maybe some vineyards are located closer to coastal exposure, with the sea breezes influencing these vineyards growing season, moderating the climate, making it a perfect conditions for Pinot Noir to grow. So these the regions can produce beautiful expressions of Pinot Noir. Carneros, Sonoma, and Santa Barbara County, they tend to have riper, more structured and subtle flavors from oak as well. So especially the Carneros, Sonoma, and Santa Barbara County, these are the subregions found within the California known to produce exceptional quality Pinot Noir based wines. Even though in your examinations can come questions, what are the regions that known to produce exceptionally quality Pinot Noir wines in California, and you being given on 4 different sub-regions, and one of them could be one of these sub-regions, and you definitely know the answer now. And they also tend to have subtle oak flavors like vanilla, spices, etc. as well. And then we have Oregon. So it's another region within the USA and produces very good to outstanding wines due to its exposure to the Pacific Ocean and the northerly latitude. So Oregon is located quite northern to other regions, and their latitude is quite further. Therefore, it have similarly cooler climates and cool to moderate climate conditions, and also it produces very good to outstanding wines, quite exceptionally good wines, and they're generally cooler than California. So Oregon is quite cooler than California and mostly has a moderate climate ideal for growing Pinot Noir. So because of this moderate climate, it's ideal for Pinot Noir to grow in this Oregon region as well. So the best wine coming from Oregon are complex, fresh red fruit flavors with subtle oak flavors, and can develop tertiary flavors with bottle age. So the best wine coming from Oregon have fresh, vibrant red fruits with subtle oak flavors as well, and they have great potential to further age, further develop in the bottle as well. And now we are moving into Chile. So in Chile, from coastal subregions of Casablanca Valley to the north of Santiago is well suited for production of very good Pinot Noir. Cooled by the sea breezes and morning fog from the Pacific Ocean, they produce very fruity Pinot Noir that often have flavors of cooked strawberries. They are often excellent value for money. So regions like Casablanca Valley and Santiago is exceptionally well suited to produce Pinot Noir based wines, and they're meant to produce wines with very fruit forward Pinot Noir based wines, and they often have cooked strawberries because of slightly warmer temperature conditions. Could be because in extreme temperature conditions, Pinot Noir can produce wines with cooked fruit. So since it's mentioned cooked strawberries, they may have slightly higher temperatures during growing season as well, but they all offer excellent value for money in Chile. So these are the two subregions in Chile that we need to consider when preparing for WSET Level 2 examinations, the Casablanca Valley and Santiago in Chile as well. So South Africa is another country that known to produce exceptional quality Pinot Noir based wines, especially produced in coastal regions in South Africa, especially in the Walker Bay, with strong southerly sea breeze encourage vibrant red fruit flavor. So in fact, one of my favorite Pinot Noirs are coming from this Walker Bay called Hamilton Russell in the region of Hemanelada. Is one of the best expression of Pinot Noir that I ever tried, and I love drinking it. It has very vibrant fruit flavors, mixture of complexity, the complex fruit flavors of red fruits, even subtle hint of oak as well, and it's a perfect wine. I love this Hamilton Russell wines. And when talk about South Africa, mostly the Pinot Noirs are produced in the coastal part, especially around this Walker Bay area. And because of this sea influencing the breezes, moderating the warmer conditions of the growing areas, they are able to produce exceptional quality Pinot Noir based wines. And now we are moving into Australia. The overall climate of wine growing regions in Australia are warmer. It's quite warmer, although the moderate and even cool climates still exist within the Australia as well. For example, the Yarra Valley, the Mornington Peninsula in Victoria are among few regions that have cool enough for Pinot Noir. So Yarra Valley, Mornington Peninsula in Victoria are the sub-regions that we need to keep in mind when preparing for level 2. They tend to produce exceptional quality Pinot Noirs because of these cooler climate conditions that they have. They benefit from the cooling breezes from Southern Ocean, and the style of these wines can vary from light body to fragrant to ripe and cooked fruit with medium tannins. So the tannins of these Pinot Noir tend to be light to medium, as well as they are very vibrant complex fruit flavors of strawberries, red cherries, raspberries, and also these regions, these vineyards benefit from these the cooling sea breezes of Southern Ocean as well. So overall, these are the factors that we need to focus when preparing for level 2 wines, especially for Pinot Noir coming from Australia, the Mornington Peninsula, the Yarra Valley, as well as the Victoria among the cooler regions that we need to focus on. So now we are moving into New Zealand. So Pinot Noir is the premier black grape variety of New Zealand. As a nation, New Zealand's premier black grape variety is Pinot Noir, and it's well suited to the cool to moderate climate of Martinborough and Marlborough. So Martinborough and Marlborough, and then we have the Central Otago also produces New Zealand's ripest and most powerful Pinot Noir wines. With its southerly latitude, this region is protected from the sea breezes and rain by the range of mountains. So the Central Otago region itself is protected from the sea breezes and the rain by the mountains surrounded by the region. So the mountain protects the region from the sea breezes as well as the rain. Therefore, they are able to produce ripest and most powerful Pinot Noirs coming from New Zealand. So if there is a question, what is the sub-region of New Zealand that known to produce the ripest and the most powerful styles of Pinot Noir? And then you given Martinborough, Marlborough, and Central Otago. In this case, unless you know the exact answer, you maybe get lost, right? So therefore, these key factors keep in mind. Therefore, you can be better prepared for your examination as well. So these wines receive intensely sunny days and cool nights, resulting wines with pronounced fruit flavors. So the wines in this Central Otago especially, they receive the intensely sunny days and nights, the cool nights, resulting in wines with pronounced fruit flavors. So because of these intensely sunny days and cool nights help to produce grapes with most pronounced primary fruit flavors. So that is pretty much all we need to know about the regions, the Burgundies, and all the other well-known regions across the world that are known to produce exceptional quality Pinot Noirs. And Pinot Noir today. Pinot Noir is renowned for its ability to express small changes in vineyards that come from Burgundy. Is a great example for this. So Pinot Noir is known for its ability. So now as a Burgundy, as a region, even though small distance within this the vineyards from same village can still produce whole different expression of Pinot Noir, but still the Pinot Noir can still adapt into that different conditions, right? So because of this ability, it's renowned to suit into regions like Burgundy as well. So due to the demand, the production has expanded into regions with two warm climates and resulting in having wines with overly alcohol. So because of the demand for this Pinot Noir grape varieties, the Pinot Noir wines, producers have expanded their production into even very warm climate condition regions. So in that regions, the wines that are produced from Pinot Noir tend to have overly high levels of alcohols than it should be in typical Pinot Noir wine. Therefore, the most of the wines that are produced in these regions, such regions have very high levels of alcohol, and sometimes can create such perspectives in consumers' mind. So the Pinot Noirs tend to have even high alcohol right now, or in such cases they can avoid consuming these wines as well. So as professionals knowing about the factors behind the production of these Pinot Noirs, it's our responsibility to educate our consumers, our guests, to pick the right bottle that well suited for their palate as well. I hope the module is quite clear for you to understand what are the common characteristics of Pinot Noir, where it is grown, and what are the winemaking techniques as well. If you have any doubts, if you need any further explanation, please feel free to drop a comment below so that I can reach out to you guys and get as much information as possible from my end to make it clear as well. And if any of you need WSET Level 2 specification in PDF format, just reach out to me as well so that I can share it with you guys. And please do subscribe to channel so that I can create more contents helping you to prepare for your WSET Level 2, even for Level 3 in upcoming contents as well. So I wish you have a great study ahead, and I'm going to see you in the Module 7, which is going to be Sinhala.